Thanks so much, Tanika, and for that really great introduction as well. I'm just going to share my screen. Can everybody see it? Okay.
Not yet. We'll give it a few minutes.
Okay.
Still nothing. Maybe stop it and then share it again.
Okay, let me try. It says the screen sharing has been disabled.
Okay, let me just, sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, you can give it a shot now.
Can everyone see it? Okay.
Yes.
All good?
All good.
Okay, great. So I just want to get rid of some of the icons here. There we go. So yeah, thanks so much, Nico, for that great introduction. Everyone, I'm Venisha Nayagar, and basically I'm a managing director of a cybersecurity consulting company. So what that actually means is that we kind of hack into organizations and then we actually help them secure their organizations and their data through various strategies and through consulting mediums. So I'm 38 years old. I've pretty much worked in the IT industry my whole career. It's very male dominated. I'm sure you've heard that cliche many, many times, and it is actually quite true. I'm hoping to actually share a very personal journey as to my position in corporate and also transitioning into an entrepreneur, and just some of the lessons and some of the examples that I've actually been through. As part of our organization, we also do a lot of female mentoring and coaching. So whether it's through my company or whether it's through various other NPOs or women in technology initiatives, we either get started by getting women interested in the career of technology and also in cybersecurity. So before starting my business, I actually had various corporate roles, starting from a very, very simple junior graduate to having roles of being a director, leading global functions, to eventually being in a position to actually start my own company.
Sorry, Venisha, to interrupt you. Do you mind pressing F5 when I'm showing your presentation? Because we can see your notes.
Oh, sorry. That's disabled again.
Okay, take it. Okay, can try now. Sorry.
Okay, let me go to normal view. Just hold on for me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, let me just stop this.
Perfect, thank you.
Better.
Much better, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, I mean, a graduate from a very small town, actually from Durban, and I guess the main focus was at that point was just to get a job. And a lot of uncertainty was actually displayed, being able to try and figure out what exactly I wanted to do. Being a fresh graduate, not having much exposure, experience, more so in technology. At that point when I got into technology 17 plus years ago, it wasn't something that was known. It wasn't something that was exposed to a lot of females. It wasn't something that you could have multiple programs in, or there were a lot of talks around, or even university sharing on that. But at the same time, even though I didn't exactly knew what I wanted to do in terms of career, being a young individual, I kind of know how I wanted to be. So my mom always used to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to be when you want to start a career? And I didn't really have much of an answer, but I actually had a vision. So I wanted to be a very successful lady. And at that point, I always used to watch Ally McBeal and Sex and the City and all of that there, and Carrie Bradshaw, and all of these successful women always seem to resonate with me. You know, there was something very, very powerful, very influencing, very motivating about them. So even though I didn't know what I wanted to do, I know how I wanted to do how I wanted to be. And that was somebody that loved wearing suits, somebody that loved making an impact, and somebody that actually, you know, loved going to work with a laptop and being able to just create ideas. And through the journey, I was fortunate enough, through working in banking, making the transition, making the move, being a young individual, you know, actually understanding what corporate Johannesburg meant, actually understanding what being in technology actually meant. I started getting into different types of roles, and good and bad, because sometimes being too great in a role also means that you kind of feel a bit boxed. You know, let's face it, a lot of managers don't want to lose good people, and they tend to actually make you feel if you're great in something, then, you know, you should actually maybe stay there. You know, why do you want to actually explore more? Why do you want to actually try to be better? You know, there's so many aspects of having a career in technology that doesn't limit anybody, but depending on the roles that you are, depending on the type of leadership that you're exposed to, depending on the type of line managers that you actually have, some of the key lessons that I've actually learned going through these phases or these examples was that you got to choose who you take advice from, and you got to choose who you take leadership aspects from. You know, being good or great in something doesn't mean that it actually stops there. There's so much more that's actually you capable of, and there's so much more possibility and potential that's out there. So it's like wearing stilettos in quicksand. You have so much of opportunity and so much of potential with you, but the arena around you, the situation around you, the society around you, the organization around you doesn't necessarily understand or see that. So it's actually really up to the individual, you know, on taking the chances, creating the opportunity, making your own path what you believe is actually right for you. And the great thing about having a career in technology, or actually working in a highly male dominated environment, is that it forces you to actually figure out who you are. You know, figure out what you actually love doing, figure out where your passion is. So going through multiple roles, you know, being from a graduate, senior specialist, manager, senior manager, director, executive, and now in a position of being an entrepreneur, so many parts of myself and my character actually changed, and I actually got very, very familiar with. So I'm somebody, you know, from a specialist role, I realized I liked working with multiple teams. I liked working with different technologies. I liked working on a global scale rather than local scale. So as I started figuring out what I actually started loving, I started creating those opportunities and seeking those opportunities for themselves. And of course, you know, the best thing about creating success and, you know, creating a diversity or creating inclusion to be better is to just take the opportunity and, you know, have the braveness to actually learn later. Anyone that's successful, anyone that has gone through multiple career changes or career moves, or has done something to actually change the world in any way, whether it's an initiative or a project, you know, or something, or an engagement, or something that you're working on, you know, something that actually contributes to any aspect of betterment, doesn't come easy. So specifically when you're working in a career, more so in technology, again, you know, it's filled with a lot of resistance. It's filled with a lot of differences and changes. It's filled with a lot of people trying to actually sometimes make you believe like you're not good enough. And specifically me, you know, being a woman in technology, trying to climb the ranks as fast as I could, but also knowing what I was ready for and not ready for. There were so many examples where I was actually told either you were not good enough or you were not young enough. You know, my femininity was actually picked on in terms of how I dressed. I think once I got told is that you shouldn't wear red lipstick. It's very, very distracting. You know, sitting in a committee or a forum, either I was not acknowledged or I was spoken above. So, you know, not really given the attention that I deserved. You know, not many people actually kind of embrace the femininity aspect of, specifically when you're working in a career in technology. And for me, that was actually something that I wasn't willing to compromise on. Being females and being leaders and in whatever role that you're in, whether you're a business analyst or marketing, male, female, starting out, or an executive, there's so many aspects that women actually bring to the table. There's so many amazing attributions and characteristics and definitions that females actually bring to the workplace. The amount of benefits that actually come by just being female is amazing. And even though I went through, and I still go through it as well, there's just so much of resistance, and sometimes there's a lot of difficulties in trying to get over that to be able to be better. But it's not something that I would advise changing, because it basically is who you are, and who you are is what people need to actually start seeing, and that's actually what creates a lot of value. There's so many things that you got to choose if you need to change about yourself, but really understand what those things actually are. Is it something that's going to be worthwhile, and is it something that's actually going to improve you as an individual? And at the end of the day, I think we've got to realize that we are women, we are people, we have multiple roles to play. Our lives are split across a working day, and you're a person. You're not feta cheese to go and please everybody else. You're there to actually get better and to contribute in any way that you potentially can. So being fortunate enough to have actually, gone through different roles in my career, having some great experiences, latching onto some great mentors, being adjusted to different sorts of leadership, being exposed to different sort of career paths, winning some awards, working globally, having those opportunities and chances, I'm so grateful for that. And it's led me to actually try and be a bit more mature. It just actually comes naturally with a lot of experience and a lot of skill. So a lot of the times when I used to go through a lot of the insults and a lot of the badgery at work, and just having to be made to feel like you weren't good enough because you're in those roles or in those positions, it can be really demotivating. You can get the fear that actually takes over you, and it can be something that actually stops you from growing and learning. But I've managed to get through that, and at this point in time, I'm my own boss, running my own company, and always finding out that I have to keep on growing and learning. And just some of the tips or the highlights or the lessons that I could potentially share is, firstly, a one that sometimes we find very difficult as women, but one that has to be almost your mantra, is to know your worth. Know your value. Don't settle for anything that is less than what you are or what you deserve, because somebody has told you, or somebody superior has actually made you feel that way. There are definitely going to be challenges in whatever you experience, or whatever role that you take, or whatever road that you go through, or whatever career path that you choose. There's a lot of fear that comes with those decisions and with the impact that you actually make. Not everybody is embracive of what you actually create as a strong female. I was told so many times, don't be so assertive, because you actually kind of chance breaking relationships, and not everybody actually wants somebody that voices their opinions. And I actually never changed that about myself, because that was one of the things that I believed created those great opportunities for me. Because if you don't know your worth, and if you don't believe in yourself, and if you don't highlight all of the things you've worked and you contributed towards, and that you created, or that you actually have the passion and the skills and the knowledge to actually build, no one else is actually going to support you unless you actually advocate for yourself. Another thing that's actually helped quite a bit is to network. So you don't have to limit your container to people in your industry. It can be male, female, people outside of your industry, basically anybody that can actually help you in any way. Any quality, any skill that you want to actually take and start emulating, just keep building your network. And ask for assistance. Whether you're a leader, or whether you have a team, or whether you don't know how to do something, it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's a business coach or a lifestyle coach, or whatever it is that you need to do to be a better person before you can be a better professional. It's okay to actually know when you need help, and to get it, and to take a breath, and to take a breather to focus on yourself and to come back better. Being brave to be able to try, it's, if anyone's in a career in technology and wants to go up the ladder, or wants to be an executive, or wants to maybe go into running their own business, so whatever it is, you have to be brave and to have thick skin. Don't take anything personally. If I did, I would probably still have been a specialist role, probably like 10 plus years into my career, and never have been able to explore so many other better roles out there. Be brave to take chances. Be brave to actually voice how you feel or to create change. Try as many things as you possibly can, both personally and professionally, and embrace your femininity. It's not something that we should be ashamed of or something that we should be hiding. It's something to be completely proud of. It's what actually sets us apart as human beings and as people and as professionals. That common question when if you go for an interview, and normally line managers will ask you, so, what is different about you? What is different or unique about you that we need to hire you? So actually think about that. What actually makes you? What exactly are you passionate about? What exactly drives you that actually contributes to not a job being a job, but a job being a purpose? It's okay to be a badass. There were so many times where I had been really sensitive or emotional, or let things get back down into me. It can be really depressing. It can take you to a pretty dark place, but it's okay to stand up and to recognize your value and to believe in it and to actually go ahead with conviction and to stand up for yourself. And I think the last 2 points are absolutely, absolutely critical, is positive thinking and never, never give up. It's not an easy place to actually be in, specifically in this economy, but having that positivity, having that optimism, having that light energy, having that happiness, that glow within you actually transforms so many situations. It is completely unreal. Whatever happens, and there'll always be positive and negative stuff that's happening. Don't ever give up on that. Remember how important it is to actually focus on your worth, focus on your value, and just be the best version of yourself at all possible times. We are so privileged to be in a career in technology, which is where the world is actually going. And, to be able to dispel all those myths or all those perceptions or all those differences in knowing that women can't be successful in a male-dominated career, but we actually have the chance to prove all of that wrong. In terms of contact details, this is my full name and my LinkedIn profile, as well as my company profile and my email and phone number. If everybody does have any questions or has any more comments, I'll be happy to answer them over and above the session.